Hey everyone, Bob here. Today we're going to talk about a novelization, and in particular the novelization of the original Halloween, John Carpenter's masterpiece. Now, if anyone has been a fan of this movie and has searched for the novelization, as they know, it is a very expensive piece to seek out and collect, especially if it's in any kind of condition. But I came across this novelization on Kindle Unlimited. So if you guys have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that are in the book that aren't in the movie. First off, there's a prologue that takes place like 1,000 years ago. It's in Northern Ireland, and it focuses on these two characters, specifically Enda, and follows him around, and he kind of likes this girl, but she kind of uh, refuses his offers. And in a fit of rage, when she's dancing with the one she's betrothed to, he goes and kills the couple, and the rest of the tribe uh, kills him and curse him to roam the land forever. And basically, what it's getting at is it's trying to show that the spirit of Enda is what possesses Michael. Chapter 1 starts out at Michael's grandma's house, and Michael and his mother are there, and he's trying on the clown costume. And this is, of course, Halloween 1963. Uh, Michael goes in the other room to try on the costume, and his mom talks about how concerned she is because he hears voices in his head, and they're not always good. And they talk about the fact that Michael's grandfather also had a violent criminal history. Chapter 2 is from Judith's perspective, which of course is Michael's sister that he kills that night. Chapter 2, she's getting ready for her date to show up, and there's a knock at the door. She goes down to answer it. She thinks it's her boyfriend who's early, and she's irritated. But it turns out it's a bunch of trick or treaters. She starts handing things out, and before she does that, she says, "What are you going to do if I don't give you any candy?" And one of the trick or treaters says, "We're going to kill you." And she recognizes and knows exactly where it came from, and it's Michael Myers said it to her. But anyway, she hands out the candy. They leave. She goes up, finished getting ready, and her boyfriend shows up, and the rest kind of plays out more or less how it does in the movie. Chapter 3 is where it starts to go in the. Chapter 3 is where it starts to follow, like where the movie first starts, where Michael approaches, where sister and the boyfriend go upstairs and all that stuff. And that more or less is similar to how it is in the film. Now, Michael's time at Smith's Grove is different. The trial's depicted more. Michael actually speaks at this trial, and he speaks quite a bit during his the early time that they talk about here at Smith's Grove. And Michael admits to killing his sister. Otherwise, the judge doesn't think he could have possibly have done it. Otherwise, the judge wouldn't have sentenced him. But then Loomis, on his reports, has to go back and report to the judge. And this is kind of where I think the TV scenes came from in the extended cut of Halloween, where it's at where they're at Smith's Grove. The scene it's the scene in between when he kills Judith and when he escapes. But anyway, there's strange occurrences. Loomis talks about how anytime that Michael feels slighted or thinks he was, he gets even though he has no proof that that's how that Michael's the one that did it or anything. But he says you just know, and that basically it's Loomis saying that he knows Michael's evil. There's just a little more to it than what they show in the film. When Michael escapes, they find Loomis finds a body. It's a security guard at the gate, and of course, that adds another victim to Michael's kill count for the book. A lot of the stuff in Haddonfield plays out very similarly to how it does in the movie. There's some minor differences, a few things that are similar but a little different. Such as normal, if you read the novelization to any movie, there's always a little bit of difference, and such is the case here. One thing I will point out is that the deaths in this are much more graphic than what they are in the movie. The original Halloween, of course, is famous for how little blood and stuff there actually isn't. There's a little bit at the beginning when he kills Judith, but for the most part, there isn't that much blood in the whole film. Well, there's a lot of the deaths are more graphic in this one, especially Annie. Her death is a lot more violent and graphic in the novelization than in the movie, and it works for the novelization. Also, stuff is told from Michael's perspective part of the time, just like the part where Laurie drops off the key at the Myers place. You get a little bit where it's told from Michael's perspective when he's watching her, when he's watching Tommy Doyle after the kids bully him there when he's leaving school with the pumpkin. That part's there's a part of it that's told through Michael's perspective, and then periodically throughout the night there are different parts that are told through his perspective that are almost, I don't want to say reasoning for how he goes about what he does, but more or less that's what you're reading. You're reading his thought processes. Also, I wanted to say real quick, if you've seen the original Halloween, you'll know that it's daylight when Annie picks Laurie up and they head across town to go babysit at the Doyles. And as we all know, it's supposed to be a small town USA where you can drive from one end to the other in not that long a time. However, it's dark whenever they pull up to the Doyle house. Now, the book perhaps explains an answer to that. When Annie picks up Laurie, they talk about how they're going to drive up and down all the streets, see who's hanging out with who, before they actually go on over to babysit. She's picked her up evidently early, so presumably it takes, because I picks her up at 6. Presumably they didn't have to be where they needed to be till 7 or 7:30 or so. So that gives them an hour and a half to kill driving around town, looking at the different, see who's hanging out with who, and of course that explains something that some of the fans deem to be an error in the continuity. Now, the end chase is pretty much, the structure of the end chase is pretty much the same. However, there are a few differences in the details about how it happens. But pretty much the same result happens. But like I say, there's a few details that are different. Just like there's a few differences in how Loomis knows where Michael is, and that's another difference in this. Loomis actually doesn't find the car on they're parked by the Myers house like he does in the film. He actually feels like he's wasting time because he gets thinking Michael's already been here. There's no reason to think he'd come back, so he just starts pacing around, walking around town trying to figure out what's what. And he stumbles across it accidentally that way and starts looking. But when Lindsay and Tommy come running out, he sees him, and he has them show him where Michael has chased Laurie to. Also, at the very end, when Loomis looks over the ledge at the top, Michael's still laying there. They go downstairs. Laurie comes with them. They go outside, and by then, Michael's gone. Now, in a part that I think is kind of cool, there is a neighbor that comes out and wants to know what's going on. He says, "Is this some kind of joke? I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight." And Loomis, of course, snaps back, "You don't know what death is." I love that because, as we all know, that's part of what happens in the opening of Halloween 2 from 1981. And this novel came out in 1979, so I feel like that segment was lifted directly from this novelization. There's another line or two in this that I feel were that appear in Halloween 2 that I think were lifted, and I think that's cool that that's the film's way of paying tribute to the novelization. If you are a fan of the movie, I highly recommend you check this out, especially if you have Kindle Unlimited. It's free. I have Kindle Unlimited. I didn't realize it was there until by pure accident I stumbled across it. So I don't know how many of the fans out there realize it's there. I recommend you check it out if you're a fan of the movie. I'm not going to get into a lot of the more specific details in the end chase because I think you ought to, hopefully, will read it yourself and enjoy it. And it's as well written as any novelization that I've read. I recommend it if you're a fan of the franchise. And if you guys like this video, I will consider giving my thoughts on the novelizations of Halloween 2, 3, 4, and of course the 2018 reboot. So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and please consider subscribing to this channel. Stay safe out there, everyone, and for now, this is Bob, signing off.